Hi everyone, I'm Alex Leonetti and I will be presenting on language and power. I decided to choose this topic because it was something that was completely unfamiliar to me, and before I began this class, I had never even thought of language as having power. And as I began to do my research, both during the class and outside, I was fascinated that the idea of small, simple changes in your speaking in language could create such a different perception within the people around you. I was also interested to see how this affected English language learners that we taught in schools. I was never specifically taught how to use power language that I can recall in schools, so I was wondering if this is something that was used with English language learners. So I'd first like to start by talking about what is power. So power is the influence that you can have over other people. And traditionally, when I think of power, I think of physical strength, bodybuilders, school bullies. But these people have physical power, but you can't have physical power over a large group of people. The people who have influence over large groups of people don't use their physical strength, but use their words. Think of politicians and religious leaders. They use speeches and sermons in order to sway the masses to see their point of view. Their skill using language gives them power over people and to share their ideas. Some examples of powerful language include not using ums, uhs, likes, using direct statements rather than beating around the bush, telling exactly what you want, using a clear voice with no shaking, and speaking at a medium volume. Sometimes it would seem that speaking at a louder volume would make you seem more powerful, but oftentimes when you speak at a loud volume, you seem out of control. And if you want to be seen as powerful, you don't want to be seen as trying too hard. So this medium, even tone is what's used when trying to convince people of your own power. A lot of these powerful language strategies come second nature to us as native speakers, but with English language learners, we need to remember that this is something we need to teach them. And it's important that they do learn it. This will make them sound more like native speakers, and the more that they're able to utilize the language in a native way will give them more power. Language gives us access to the world, and their ability to speak two languages will open the world up to them even more. Um, the better a person's language, the more power they have. We're more likely to put our trust and our faith in someone who is eloquent and clear rather than someone who is bumbling and unsure of themselves. Another problem that English language learners have is they have less power in both of their languages due to their language abilities. Certain students might not be completely fluent in their home language. They may not know the academic language in their home language, so that they couldn't really have a full conversation about evaporation, for example, with any person because they learned about evaporation in English while they were still trying to understand English, and they never learned about evaporation in their home language, which gives them less power to have these conversations with others. We also have a problem in the United States that non-white people and non-citizens have less power, and oftentimes our English language learners are non-white people, and some of them are not citizens. So they have to learn how to advocate for themselves. So our role as teaching professionals is while the students can't be advocates for themselves, we need to advocate for them. This is as they're first beginning to learn the language when they don't really have the skills to self-advocate. They have little power and they have no way to express the power that they do have. So we have to make sure that they are able to express that power. It's our job to create that power in themselves and to have them realize that they have it. We also have to teach them how to self-advocate, which is an incredibly important skill for people to have. The best way for us to be able to teach self-advocacy is to practice it on our own. A lot of times, TESOL professionals aren't given a full classroom, or they're put in a odd sort of closet or basement classroom, and we need to prove that we're our own advocates for both ourselves and for our students, and make sure that they get the best learning environment that is possible. And through our ability to self-advocate, we'll learn skills to teach our students so that we can teach them to self-advocate. This is just using our own power language and modeling it also for our students, just as we will teach them. We spoke a lot about powerful language, but there's also something such as powerless language. Based on the name, it sounds negative, but actually it's incredibly important to learn. So, powerless language includes asking people rather than ordering them. Something as simple as, would you mind getting my mail, rather than get my mail. It's used when speaking to a superior or asking for a favor. We would never speak to our boss in an incredibly direct manner by giving them orders, especially if we needed a favor from them. We would ask in what we would consider a polite way. However, these are more complex sentences and don't necessarily come automatically when you're first learning a language. And it's important that these are explicitly taught so that these students can be successful when they enter the workforce. This is something that's specifically taught to many adults who are learning English and trying to thrive in the job market. However, this is something that can be really important for students to learn as well. If they're young enough, they might learn it just naturally through content. These are the articles that I used as references for this presentation. If you have any further questions about my presentation, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you for listening.